Hello everyone, this is Anya and welcome back to another video at Round 3 Design. Today I am working with this stamp from Honeybee Stamps called Be Mine and this sketch from Card Maps, which is available for free at pagemaps.com. I'm using this collection from Bo Bunny called Family Is. It's not available anymore, but there is a newer collection from Bo Bunny that's called BE-utiful You, and that would be perfect for this as well if you have that. I have picked 3 papers out here that of course have honeycomb and honey colors, and we'll get started. Now, this is my card base that is Neenah Solar White Classic Crest 110 pound cardstock and a sheet of Bristol smooth paper that I am using to stamp on today, and I am stamping with Versafine Onyx black ink because I am going to be using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. And you'll notice I stamp multiple times because this is first of all, it's a new stamp, and second of all, because I don't like to press hard and perform CPR with my stamps. I like to keep the detail, like those cute little eyelashes. I don't want those to be blurred or larger than they should be. So I'm going to stamp it multiple times till it looks good and very lightly. So now I'll put this away and we'll get started. The colors that I've chosen are bright yellow and yellow for the yellows, a little bit of pink for the cheeks, and for the wings and for the greeting later I'll be using green shadow. The waterbrush marker that I use is from Faber Castel, and it's a syringe type, so when you fill it you pull it like a syringe instead of squeezing it like a lot of other ones, and I prefer that a lot better. As you saw, I just scribbled on the green shadow and now I'm just blending it out with the water. And when I need to, or if I have too much water, I'll dab off on the excess on a paper towel that I've got next to me. That's looking really good, so we'll do the yellow here. I'm putting it where I imagine there would be shadows. I'm not a proficient in light sources, so I'm just winging it and it still looks great. So I'm blending out the bright yellow with the yellow, and then I will blend out both of those colors more with the water brush. Now this cute little bee, did not purchase this. It came free with my purchase from Honeybee, and is still available for purchases over $50 if you want to run over there and get that. It's while supplies last, but I do recommend it. It's adorable. So now I'll work on the face here, and I'm just imagining that, you know, because she's looking up, that there's going to be more shadow down at the bottom, so I am going to make that shadow bigger and try and make it look round by doing shadows all around. The Bristol paper that I'm using in this video is from Canson, but that's not one that I recommend. I will link to it because it's what I used, but I recommend the Strathmore brand Bristol. I'm not sure what the problem is, but for the whole time I've been using the Canson brand, I get these pills. The paper just falls apart basically, and the marker does blend well, but it pills up, and I don't appreciate that at all. So now I'll put some cute little cheeks on here. I just was checking to make sure that my yellows look good together. And we'll do cheeks. And then I did decide to blend them out with water, but I decided it made the color too light, so I will dab that off and reapply the pink. And this is all looking good, so we'll move on and start cutting it out. I'll show you the Memento Tuxedo black marker. This is what I use after I cut it out to get rid of the white core edge that shows. And when I'm fussy cutting, especially images that have fiddly bits like the antennae, I like to go in and do what I call reverse cuts. I cut the opposite way that's comfortable for me first, and then I go through and cut the comfortable way the rest of the way. And I'll just speed through this really fast. Almost done with my reverse cuts. One more. There we go. And then I move forward because I'm right-handed. I move that way. So there's the Tuxedo black marker for Memento. And you can see it just gets rid of that white core and it makes a much better looking die cut when you're done. All right, so moving on, we'll start with paper. This edge, I wanted this edge because it's got some yellow, basically double honeycomb on it, and that's the part that I wanted. And so I cut off the gummed edge from the paper pad first and then cut it to 2.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And then the yellow paper is A2 sized, which is 4.25 by 5.5 inches. And then I cut this chevron paper to 5.5 inches long and about 1 inch wide. I was looking to get 2 full chevrons, but then I decided it wasn't enough of the green. So I cut out, looking at the sketch, I cut out a bigger piece to match that. And in the sketch, it has a notebook edge on that paper. So I'm pulled out a notebook edge from, this is a punch from EK Success. And this one is available, but there's a newer one that has rounded holes instead of square ones. And that's another one that's an option. And I'll just fluff up the edges so it looks like it was torn out. And that looks much better. The proportions look better. So now we'll fold my card here. And then I'm going to pull out my ATG adhesive roller gun, whatever you want to call it. I go through a lot of adhesive, so this is very practical and cost saving for me to use the big one. I've had it for at least 10 years now. And the refills are fairly easy to find on Amazon, so that's another place that is easy for me to shop at. And then I'll pull out my foam adhesive. I've moved on to using, I used to use the 1/2 inch width of 3M foam adhesive, and now I use the 3/4 inch width, and it seems to proportionately fit a lot of things better. And I'm just lining that up, making sure that I don't have the edge between the yellow and the red in between the notebook punched edge. I want solid color on either side. And then I'm going to cut up some pieces to put behind this bee. And I do end up putting a double layer behind the left wing and the left antenna, so it doesn't sink down lower because the green piece is already up higher. So I want to add that extra layer. And I don't know if you can see, you barely see it on my scissors there. They are tiny, tiny little pieces that I'm going to use my tweezers to put on. It's a little bit fiddly, but totally worth it. So here I am putting on that second layer there so they don't sink any lower. And then we'll move on to the greeting. I am really loving this stamp set. I'm using the greeting that came with it, and the hearts on it, I didn't end up using the hearts, but I love them. They look exactly like I used to draw them in high school, so it's kind of endearing to me now. And on the Bristol paper that I stamped the bee on, it's the same piece, I'm just going to mark out the area that I need behind the greeting. Then I'm going to scribble on my green shadow marker and blend it out with my Waterbrush marker, and that will leave me with the perfect matching color, and it will help emphasize the color on the wings of the bee. And just straighten that back out. And now we're ready to stamp. So I'll pull the MISTI back out and line up the stamp. And I am stamping again with Versafine Onyx black ink. It doesn't need to be waterproof because I already put the color underneath, and I don't need the top to be waterproof, but it's the same ink that matches the other one, and it's a really good ink anyway. As you can see, I've left my bee stamp in there because I like to leave my stamps in my MISTI tool as I've placed them in case I have a boo-boo or mess up, and then it's not as awful to line things back up again. So I was going to die cut out my greeting, but it's still a little wet. You saw me tapping it there. And if your paper feels cool to the touch, it probably is wet. So I'm waiting for that to dry a little bit more before I run it through my die cut machine. And we'll waste some time here by applying the bee to the card. And so it looks so cute. So for the die, I'm using this one from Spellbinders July 2019 large die of the month. I remembered I had this banner that looked about the same size and it fits perfectly, so that's what we're going to work with. And I'll just run that through my Gemini die cut machine. And looks lovely. So we'll pull out some more foam adhesive, and because it is thicker, it doesn't fit behind as easily, but I need a double layer on the ends because that green layer is still popped up. So we'll just add the pieces there, and whatever's left over I just stick on my roll and use it next time. I love the coincidence of how the little bee stinger happened to fit right there between the words. So for the inside, I've pulled out the Honeybee Stamps Simple Sentiments stamp, and there's so many things that you can make and say with this stamp. It's definitely a staple I think everyone should have. So for this card, I'm just getting my centering ruler here out so I can make sure this is centered. I chose to just do Love You with a heart because I think this card is going to go to my niece and she's going to love it. Off screen, I didn't put this on video, but I did take a glitter pen and put glitter on the wings and on the greeting, and that finishes that up. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.